Roll with it.
Yeah, I just got to roll with it. Indeed. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Housekeepers podcast. Dare I say it's going to be the cleanest hour in podcasting, as it always is. I am your lovable host, Ralph Peterson. I can call myself lovable, I think. I'm going to today, so what the heck. And
No worries.
all the way from Missouri. Are you guys getting hit by snow right now, by the way?
Oh man, it's pretty bad out there right now.
Derrick
A lot of ice.
Edmonds is getting hit by snow as we
Yeah,
speak. He's braving the
yeah.
storm. Thank you for coming and
Unfortunately,
hanging out with us.
no worries.
I was
Glad to
just
be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I was just on the phone with a friend of mine in Oklahoma, and I go,
Yeah,
we're bracing for the storm up here in the Northeast because I'm in New York. He goes, bracing, we're already in it. I was like, oh yeah,
it's already here, buddy.
Oklahoma is already out there. Missouri, you guys are already getting hammered.
Already in there. Yeah.
Wow. Cheers to snowy weather.
Yes, I'm a bit over it, but we're patient, enjoying each day as it is.
Isn't it amazing that anybody lives in the North? Yeah, I mean, 100 years ago, you moved where you moved, and it was very
Yeah,
hard to get up. But right now, we could literally all live in the South.
yeah,
We could
yeah.
all vacate the North. There's plenty of room in Texas. Like, there's a lot of land there.
That is true.
We
That
could
is
all
definitely facts.
the whole population just move. Like, listen, we're tired of the snow collectively. Everyone just
Hey, I'm with it. I'll be in that exodus. Yeah, when that exodus happens, let me know. I'll be there.
Yeah, no question. It's funny just to think about because every year it gets cold. Every year I say to my wife, "Why do we live here? What
Well,
what are we
I understand.
doing?
I may
Why
have said
can't we
that today, by the
move?"
way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So Missouri, I should say that you are the CEO of. Where are you? Let me see. I forgot already.
Well, we're in Poplar Bluff, actually.
Poplar
Poplar Bluff,
Bluff. That's right.
Missouri.
Poplar Bluff,
Yes.
Missouri. Is that where you grew up?
No, actually, I'm from Louisiana,
Really?
Baton
How'd you
Rouge.
get all the way to Missouri?
Transferred out, took a position in Missouri, at a
How old were
hospital
you
out
when
there.
you moved to Missouri?
What, 35?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Oh, so
yeah.
so that whole time you lived in Louisiana before that?
Yes, and I went to school. I went to college in California and Montana, but then I end up coming back to Louisiana, or going back to Louisiana, should I say, after college. So, yeah,
Really? So you grew up in Louisiana.
yes,
What part of
yes.
Louisiana did you grow up in?
Baton Rouge,
Yes,
Baton
I
Rouge,
love I
Red
my
State.
wife and I
Yeah.
went and ran the Baton Rouge Marathon back in
Yes, yes, that's a big thing. Yes,
I loved it.
yes, yes.
It's one of
I
our
never got
favorite
a chance to
races.
do it, but yeah, it's very big out there.
It's big, it's very well,
Hmm.
they take really good care of runners. So for
This is
anybody
true.
out there who's a
This
marathon
is true.
runner and you're looking at Louisiana, Baton
Yeah,
Rouge, trust me.
yeah.
Great marathon. They take really good care. They have like a whole big, there's a bunch of food trucks out there
Oh yeah, it's
afterward
a
and
big deal.
bunch of
Yeah.
jambalaya and Cajun food and
Hmm.
alligator. I mean, you just
Yeah,
got to eat it all when you're
all
there,
that.
you know.
Yeah, good
So
cuisine.
what was it like growing up in Baton Rouge?
Uh, it was pretty unique. It's pretty cool. A lot of things to do. Like I said, it's diverse. Right on the banks of the Mississippi River. So, a lot of hunting, fishing, things like that. Uh, Culturally diverse. So, different festivals. Obviously, the big one is Mardi Gras, but there's a catfish festival and crawfish festival. I mean, you name it, there's a festival. So, they
It's
love
like
to
a
party in
summertime of
Louisiana.
just
Yes.
festivals.
Pretty much, pretty much. So that
That's
was kind of the
awesome.
childhood, and you really know how to have a good time. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
How many, do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes. Yes. Actually, I'm one of eight. One of
Holy,
eight.
and you
Yeah.
have six.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you were
So it
saying. You
come
have
from a
six.
big family. Yeah, big family.
Holy. Where are
Yeah.
you in the eight? Are you in the middle, the oldest, the youngest?
Number one, actually.
Really,
Yes,
the
number one.
oldest?
Yes. Yes. It's funny. I remember getting a call. I was in college. I was like a junior. My mom was telling she's pregnant. I was like, huh? We need a little time to process that, mom. But okay. All right. You know.
Wow, so
But
that's a
yeah, like that.
spread. That's a
Yeah,
spread.
it definitely is. Definitely is.
So how
Yeah.
old
So
is your youngest brother or sister?
my youngest sister is 17. I have
Wow.
my two youngest sisters. One's a junior in high school, and one's a senior in high school.
Wow. Yeah, that's a spread.
Yeah, it's quite. I jokingly and say it's quite the litter.
Quite the litter indeed.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's it like growing up with that many brothers and sisters?
You know what is fabulous. Honestly speaking, I think it actually prepared me to deal with people. You know, different personalities. You know, different ideologies, things like that. So you have to adapt at an early age. You know, learn how to get along with people. You know, things like that. So I enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I thank God that I had that upbringing. You know,
Yeah.
because it's definitely made me well rounded as I got older and going into adulthood.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
could totally see where that would be. Yeah, that'd be a great benefit to have all
Yeah,
that because you're saying I really appreciate that. Like it's
yeah,
especially being the oldest. I mean, I imagine you were
yeah.
having to
A lot of
handle and
responsibilities too. Yeah,
co-parent
and
and
help out, things like that.
help
Yeah,
out and be the oldest one when sometimes you probably didn't want to be.
a lot
You
of
know?
times. But you know, it was just practice. I think
Yeah,
it was just practice. So you know, I can't complain too much.
yeah. Did you play any sports as a kid?
Yeah, I played basketball. Um, Played for my high school. Then went on to college and played. Uh,
Really?
I played junior college first. College called Los Medanos College in Pittsburgh, California, in the Bay Area. Then I transferred to Montana State, Bozeman, finished out there.
Really?
So yeah, we got some miles on the map. Yeah, definitely got some miles on the map, man.
I
Yeah.
went to I went to Campbell University, and they're a
Okay.
division, maybe a division 2 for basketball. The
Okay.
Fighting Camels,
Okay. What
but I
state are
didn't
they in?
I didn't play. Say it again.
What state are they in?
North Carolina. North
Located.
Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, Buies
Okay.
Creek, Campbell University, Buies Creek,
Okay.
North Carolina. I
Carolina.
I didn't play, but yeah, I'm only 6 foot tall, so it's tall for
Yeah.
some, not for
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I
Well,
have
I'm not
I
too
have the.
tall. I'm 6'1". So
Oh yeah, you're not very tall
I
either.
got lucky. I got
Yeah,
lucky.
talent sometimes I guess outdoes the height. That's all it takes there.
Yeah. Talent and work ethic.
That's
That's
what
what
I
you
should have
need.
said. I'm not talented at basketball. That's really where I should have went there. I said I wasn't tall enough. The truth is, I'm not
Yeah.
talented enough. Yeah, no
Now
basketball.
storytelling now.
I'm not terrible
You're
at storytelling, but
you know.
that's was something I do enjoy. But I remember when as a kid, we only played horse, like that, or Mississippi or something. You know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
literally just threw the ball.
Yeah.
Nobody dribbled.
Yeah.
Nobody passed. You
Yeah. It's
know.
pretty intense for me. Yeah.
That's great. Did you play any other sports?
Early on, I played football. Uh, I got injured my sophomore year, and I was like, "Nah, that's enough of that." I'm gonna just
Yeah.
focus on basketball. But yeah, I enjoy football as well. Played baseball a couple years when I was younger, but kind of grew out of it.
Hmm.
You know, those were generally the three sports that I played.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
basically following the season too, right? So football's ending,
yeah, yeah,
basketball starting,
yeah,
basketball's ending, baseball starting. So
yeah.
it's kind of
Just go
like,
to the next thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty typical, right? With those,
yeah.
where I'm from in Vermont, you went to hockey, so your winter sport could be
Oh,
basketball, but hockey's really big too. So
yeah, yeah.
everybody
I can
played
see that. It's pretty cold.
hockey in the winter, and then yeah, I just saw somewhere it was super warm, like a really warm place, maybe even Florida, where they have outdoor skating, ice skating. I'm like, how is that a thing?
Wow,
But apparently
Florida. It's pretty
nowadays
tropical there.
you can have ice anywhere you want, I guess. So
Hey, just come get some from Missouri. We got plenty today. Let me tell you. Come on, come on.
what did you what was your first job? Do you remember what your first job was?
First job, yes. I was 12 years old. We stayed at this apartment complex, and the owner, I would help him mow the lawn around the complex, and throughout the week, I would just pick up trash, keep the place tidy. So when I was
Wow,
12 years old. You know,
that's
my first
awesome.
memories of that too. He paid me in quarters. Yeah, so I'd have like 15, $20 in quarters. But that was a lot to me back then. Being 12
Yeah,
years
of
old.
course. I
And the
had this.
freedom of just working.
I had a similar experience, except what was I was going to say fun for me and genius on the guy who I did my first work for was he owned an arcade. It was called
Wow. Okay.
Maxie's Arcade,
Yeah,
and he
those are
paid
big.
us in quarters. And you know what we
Yep.
did, right? Just went and gave
Yeah,
them
just go
back to
back to the
him,
arcade. Yeah, yeah,
playing Miss Pac-Man and Centipede,
yeah.
Mortal
Hey, the arcade
Kombat.
used to be big. Yeah, I
It-
remember those. Yeah,
it- we spent every waking moment when that
yeah, I
place
remember
opened
those.
till it closed. I mean, we
Facts. Yeah, I
loved
remember those.
Maxie's Arcade, and he
Yeah.
had some apartments upstairs, and me and my friend Rick would clean his apartments. Like he would have somebody move out, and then we'd go up and clean
Hmm.
the apartment after people lived.
Okay.
I didn't know that at the time. It was like a construction cleanup and all that stuff, but we didn't know what it
Yeah.
called it. But that's what it was. They'd break a
Hey,
window and do some painting, and then we'd go up,
do a little
clean all the
cleanup.
stuff off the floors and sweep up the glass. And I've been in housekeeping since I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah, pretty much. We've all got our start in housekeeping.
Yeah, no question. What did your parents do for work?
My dad worked for Coca-Cola.
Nice.
He worked in their syrup, like the syrup unit they made where they mixed it, mix the flavors, things like that. And my mom, she didn't work, and when she did, it was just kind of like housekeeping, odd things like that.
Well, with 8
again, there's that
kids,
housekeeping. Yeah.
I don't know if it's fair to say she didn't work. She didn't work outside
Oh
the house.
well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did a fabulous job, by the way, with that. Yeah, she was real hands-on with us, and it was very specific love and care. So
Yeah,
she
that's
did
so
it.
great.
She did do a lot of work. Yeah.
So great. So impressive. I just absolutely love that. I so love that. So
Yeah.
your first job is cleaning up around apartments. Did you ever work at like fast food, or did you have a paper route or anything like that?
My next job was Pizza Hut. Yeah, when I was 16. Yeah, and that
Love
was
Pizza
the
Hut.
deepest fast food I got.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
but
the
I
only
did
place
that
I worked
maybe
was Burger
8
King.
months or something.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Burger King was the only fast food place I worked at.
Yeah.
I
That
love that
wasn't really
system.
my thing, fast food.
Yeah, me
I learned
neither.
earlier, like, nah, this not gonna be it. There's nothing
I
wrong with it, by the way.
no,
I just knew it wasn't my niche. Yeah.
I liked it because I could just talk the entire time, tell jokes, tell stories.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good perk there. Yeah.
Because, when there's nothing to do, you're just talking to each other,
Yeah.
That's always
You
fun.
get that a lot.
Yeah. So where did you go to college? You went to, you said California, and then you moved to Montana. What did you study?
First, I was an aspiring politician. So I was in political science and history at first. But then I changed to business administration.
Why politics?
I was passionate. I love history.
What year? What year are we talking about? What year was
This
your
is
freshman year?
2003.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Iraq
2003.
war is going on.
Yep, that type thing.
President Bush. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, back then it was. I was kind of like, I was up in the air on it. Then I really decided to go into it, and once I got to really seeing what was going on, I was like, nah, I'm gonna just back up a little bit. As far as a true change, it's not. It costs a lot for that, and it's like I'll go to the business. I think this will suit me a little better.
It's funny. Business is one of those degrees, I think, where you can almost put yourself in anywhere.
Yeah.
Politics?
Yeah.
What could
Yeah.
you do with politics except be a politician?
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty much.
You could be
So,
an analyst, I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna go just transition into this. So.
What year? How long? Like, when did you make the transition?
This
Was
is
it
probably
like your
05,
sophomore?
06,
Like your
going
sophomore or
into my
junior
junior
year?
year. Yeah, going
Junior
into my
years.
junior year.
Yeah. So you did a couple of semesters then. You got a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't like it, huh?
Yeah, not necessarily. I did. Yeah. And I got advised that business may be something you wanna, go into. So I was like, okay, we'll go ahead and get this a shot. And thank goodness I did.
What was your favorite part about business? About learning about business anyway?
You know what intrigued me most early on was economics. Just trying and getting a grasp on that and see how everything flows from the seed of the matter. So
Mm-hmm.
that was most intriguing early on. And as I progress, with the different businesses and the concepts and what fits you and what you would like to do and things like that. So as it began to evolve more and more, I was like, yeah, this is definitely something that I want to have a career in and do.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty awesome. I think I remember one standout for me. I have a degree in business as well, and what really stood out for me, you're just reminding me, is the economic forecasting. I really
yes,
liked,
that was big
like
on it.
we had this thing where it was a BYOB, where it was bring your own
Hmm.
business,
Hmm.
and you had to come up with your own business idea, but then you financially forecast it out. So you would do like labor costs, supply costs, like, and you would just
Yeah,
try to do a 5-year projection. And
that's exactly
man, what
right.
an eye opener. You're like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think this thrift
Choose
store idea
carefully.
I don't think this
Yeah,
thrift store idea is holding water,
yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to choose carefully, definitely. What you're passionate about, of course, but you definitely want to make the right choices in business. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I finally did my project on a housekeeping company. And I was
Ironically.
comparing, I was setting myself up. I was already working in housekeeping, but I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
comparing um, commercial business cleaning company compared to a residential cleaning company.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my financial analysis. I was doing both projections, a 5-year plan,
Yep.
setting my growth and my employees
All
and
that.
all that
Yep.
stuff and supply cost and
All the it's just like you run your own business. Yeah.
just
It's
yeah,
designed
that
perfectly
was
for
the whole
that.
point. Yeah, bring your own business. BYOB. Hmm. Hmm. So fun. I love economics. That was my favorite subject actually
I like
was
it. Yeah, the
macroeconomics. I
memories
really
there.
enjoyed macro. I had a macroeconomics
Really.
professor named
Yeah, I was kind of my limitations on that. Yeah.
yeah, I liked it. I had
Yeah.
my professor was a guy named Mikhail Maloka, and after our semester, this was in I don't know what the year that was, 90 something, but he left the school and went back to
Yeah.
Nigeria, which is where he was from, to run for president. It's pretty cool, right?
Really.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So he was a pretty
Yeah.
smart
Wow.
professor. Like he was going to go run for president. Not that you'd have
Sorry,
to be
guys.
smart
I
to run
just
for
got to go
president.
run for president.
Yeah,
So,
I'll be back
yeah.
maybe. Maybe I'll be back. But he
No
really
comment, Ralph. No
he,
comment.
he had a great way of explaining macroeconomics. Really, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Great. Sounds like a great mind. You have to explain that thoroughly.
Yeah, 1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. So, did you freeze up on me? There you are. Um, so
Yeah.
you
We back.
transferred from California to Montana. So Montana is where you changed into business then.
Yes. Yes. In that transition. Yeah. Out in Bozeman.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which
Bozeman,
was,
Montana.
yeah, it's a postcard. It's
Hmm.
so beautiful out there. Yeah.
Big
It's a
sky.
postcard. Yeah. It's big sky country. It's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. I need to
We
go
went
back.
up.
I hadn't been back in a while, but yeah, it's beautiful.
We went there and ran a marathon there as well in Montana.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the only thing I can remember, well, with the marathon, it was a really pretty marathon, like a really great route. And
Hmm.
there was a guy who had a big grand piano out in his front yard and he was playing it while the runners
Really?
were running by. That's kind of nice. There was a lot of horses.
Wow.
But then after the marathon, my wife wanted to go see this hot spring. And we went
Yes.
and everybody there was naked. So that's really all I remember about Montana. A lot
Wow.
of naked people in a
Yeah.
hot spring.
I don't think I visited that one. Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good times. And
Sounds like it.
so how did you get into housekeeping then? How did this happen? How'd you get into the cleaning biz? Keep locking up on me. I don't know. Is it me? I don't think it's me. Well, he'll be back in just a second. Here you are. Getting a little glitchy there. It's probably the weather where you're at, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was that last question?
No, I was asking, how did you get into housekeeping? Did you get into housekeeping like right after college, or did you go to work? What did you do right after college?
So right after college, I worked for Blue Links Corporation. They're a logistics company. They provide like lumber, all products, home building materials to national accounts like 84 Lumber, Home Depot, Lowe's, and different lumber yards throughout the cities, throughout the nation. So they're pretty big. So I did that for a couple of years um, after school, and then I transitioned into housekeeping.
How did you transition into housekeeping? Like, tell me about that story. That's a big swing.
It is. It is. I was looking for a change. I wanted to go inside. Yeah, I used to work on the yard. So all the elements, all the weather, you just got to bear with it. So I just wanted to change. And I saw that this account manager position was open with Healthcare Services Group, actually. And interviewed for it and did well, and they hired me. So those were my first impressions of, kind of responsibilities over an EVS team.
Yeah.
I had like 12 employees at the time. Long-term care.
Yeah. So you worked in a nursing home. How big was the nursing home? How many beds was it?
What were they at? Like 45, something like that. Yeah. Real small.
Yeah. Not big.
Real small. Three wings, nothing to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is in Louisiana?
Yeah, this is in Louisiana, Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's how I got into it. I actually enjoyed it. What I found out most that I enjoyed about it was just the team atmosphere, which I had grown accustomed to with basketball, of course. So kind of molding the team, things like that. That's what kind of my passion, so to speak. It's like, okay, yeah, we can definitely gain some traction and make a career of this. So
yeah, they do a good job at finding people who have the ability to take control, like lead a team,
yes,
set it up.
Important.
It's the type of company that really looks for people who not only can make a decision, but welcome the idea and the challenge of building a team, hiring people, handling problems. And so, and if you're not one of those people, you're probably not going to do well. Not just for them, you're probably not going to do well as a manager.
You're not going to do well.
Right?
Yeah. You have to have those intangibles. Those are kind of like, okay, we have to come to the gate with these things. They can't be overlooked. Proficient is particularly, in this industry. It's like you have to have those, because it'll wear on you where, that's your wherewithal, those qualities and those characteristics. So.
Yeah. And I went through so many, I can't tell you how many people I've tried to promote that didn't have those qualities. You know what I mean? Like when you're in a position where you're trying to promote and find new managers in housekeeping, at some point you just kind of like, I think they're going to be okay. And even though they say, it's not for me, you're like, sure, it will be.
You can do it. Yeah.
And they were right. It wasn't for them in retrospect.
Yeah.
Should have listened,
Of course. I enjoyed my time though.
Yeah. How long did you work for them?
Was it 5-6 years, something like that?
Nice.
Did you multiple roles with them, by the way? Account manager, training manager, district manager was how as I got with them. I'd worked across Mississippi and Louisiana, over 10 accounts. So,
oh wow,
they really, as far as a professional sense, they really kind of geared me toward the hospital industry. They kind of set me up for that, with the tools and the knowledge and the experience that I learned, from my tenure there. It kind of prepared me for the next steps. So I'm forever grateful to HSG for those things. So
yeah, no, they do a good job. And I think what's so valuable is when you get to that district level, the district manager level.
Hmm.
And you tell me if I'm off base a little bit, but for me at least, it's really where I started to understand the business aspect of it, because you really
Yes.
do have to, and they encourage you, of course, to treat it like it's yours,
Yeah.
and to make the financial decisions like it's yours,
Yeah.
and to hire like it's yours, and to handle problems like
Yes.
it's yours. And before you know
Hmm.
it, you're like,
It's
well,
mine. It feels like mine.
it does feel like mine.
Yeah, definitely. I will tell you, those are my impressions as well. Which from a bit, I did appreciate that. You know, them giving you that leeway to grow the business, to kind of make mistakes, but they still there to guide you as well. But as you alluded to, they definitely, hey, run it like this is your business. And at the
Hmm.
district level, for me, that was the first time I got a chance to start looking at P&Ls and different reports, and really seeing how the finances and what ticks that. So like I said, they prepared me for the next step, so I'm forever grateful to
Yeah,
those guys.
yeah, I totally concur. So, what were the next steps? So, what happened next?
So I transferred, transition into hospitals.
Oh, you did.
So
Okay, with
same
them.
thing. No,
Oh,
actually,
oh, oh,
transitioned with another company,
oh. Okay.
HHS.
I'm a big
Yeah,
fan of HHS.
yeah,
I like them a lot.
yeah.
I've had a few people from HHS on the show here. Really great
Yes,
people.
I like HHS. So they took it to the next level as far as competencies, policies, procedures, best
Hmm.
practices, all those different things. They're like over the top.
Hmm.
So they will get you prepared, to be a director. If those are your aspirations, or VP, however it goes. That's what I really appreciate about them. Like it's strict training, 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 training. They're really always looking to mold their talent and build from within. So I think they do a good job with that. And so I had the role of EVS director in several hospitals over the course of my tenure with them. So
Very
from
cool.
Louisiana, I was out in New Orleans, and then Baton Rouge, and then I was in EVS capacity role out here in Missouri. So that's what actually brought me to Missouri.
Oh, and that's what brought you to Missouri.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
I worked in a hospital when I worked I worked for a hospital, so I was cleaning. They didn't outsource
Okay.
the
So they
EVS
were in
team at all.
house.
It was all in house. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I worked for them, and I remember like just learning different roles, and because there's so many roles in housekeeping,
Gosh.
from
Yes.
just doing floor care, which was always overnight,
Hmm.
to cleaning the emergency room, or
Yeah.
the
Specialty
OR,
areas. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the
Recovery. Yeah.
PACU.
Yeah.
Every area is so
Hmm.
different,
It's
and
so different. Yeah.
it's I know a
And
lot
unique.
of I know a lot of hospital EVS directors that are in hospitals. They run the whole
Hmm.
thing, and the
Yeah.
knowledge base that they have, it would take them 8 years to try to explain a day in the
It's
life of,
tremendous. It's
because
tremendous.
they have to know so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what I've learned too with the knowledge portion of it? It comes with time and experience as well. Obviously, you're educating yourself, you're going through training and courses and things like that. But quite frankly, the day to day of the experience, like that's where you learn the valuable information of this,
Hmm.
and how to deal with certain things. But as you alluded to, man, the hospital is so different from long term care, which is kind of just focused right here. But in the hospital, as a director, I mean, you're everywhere. I mean, you may be cleaning
Everywhere.
them 750,000 square feet,
Hmm.
as you alluded to, from the ER to the OR to med surge. And there's so many people involved, so other directors. So you really have to be of a certain cloth of person, you know, to handle it, definitely.
Yeah, I remember it was the first time I saw supervisors whose only job was to manage a phone. And I
Yes.
was like,
Oh, definitely.
I've
That's
never
it's
seen
it.
a supervisor only sit and be on the phone, but the phone never stopped. Like they were
It
just
never stopped.
constantly
Never
discharge
stops.
admission, changeover,
Oh my gosh.
a
Yeah.
mess, a
Oh, I know. Don't
spill.
remind me. I remember well. Yes, it never stops. I mean,
Just
we get 1,000, 1,100 calls a day.
yeah, just
Definitely.
constant,
Hmm.
great times.
Yeah.
So then you're in Montana, Missouri. So then you're in Missouri, you're doing HHS with hospitals.
Hmm.
How did you transition? When did you decide to go out on your own? How'd that happen?
Well, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. Just really never had the opportunity, and I don't think the time was right. I've always been in business. Me and my business partner, my cousin, we ran business in Louisiana, and we brought it out here, namely in floor care, um, and home improvement. So we already had that here. Uh, and as I decided to go out, on my own, we kind of made another brand and put it on the parent company. But business is always something that I've done, even on the side. So
Yeah, so that's how it happened. It was just like a little side hustle you were doing, and then it turned
yeah,
into
yeah. Well, namely, like I said, it was the side hustle was just on the flooring, but owning my own or having my own EVS line was something that being in the business and seeing the different, I won't say flaws, but things that you can improve on, if you had an opportunity to be a company or run things your own way. So I just kind of took those things over time and harvested them, and then kind of considered and like, okay, this would be the good time, and stepped out. We built a program, and, you know, again, as you allude to, it's just training, and, you know, preparing people to do the job as well as leaders, as well, doing their job. So
yeah. So what's your company do now? So are you still in floor care, or did you expand out into other
no,
areas?
so we're still in floor care, but now mainly we have a EVS service line as well. So we do service a hospital at the moment out
Oh,
here in
very
Missouri,
cool.
Rouge, Missouri. Edmonds Enterprise is the company, but we've soon branded our name Quality Housekeeping Solutions, and so we'll be incorporating that in the time to come. But we're excited, definitely blessed. It's been a long time coming. Like I said, it's something that we wanted to do for a while now. Just kind of been patient, and the opportunity presented itself, and kind of just walked into it. So
Yeah, that's
we're definitely
awesome.
looking to grow.
That's awesome. Did you with your floor care? And you said you're still doing that now. Are you doing like stripping and refinishing? Are you doing it in healthcare? Are you doing that for nursing homes? I always wondered if that would
It's
work
a good
because,
question.
you know,
Well,
we're always struggling,
yeah,
especially now with staff,
yeah,
just to get somebody to strip and refinish a hallway, a floor, a resident room.
yeah,
I have a friend of mine, Adam, who's always said, well, we need to have roving teams. We need to have people who just do floor care.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
well,
yeah. It's
I
a
don't know if
great
that would
idea.
work.
I think that's what some of the hospitals are going to now, actually contracting that labor, ironically. But to your point, or to your question, stripping and refinish and laying floors, demolition. We do
Oh, you're doing all that. You're
hardwoods.
even
Oh yeah, we
construction
do.
and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. It's just not
Oh,
just VCT or tile.
oh,
It's residential, it's commercial, things like that. So it's across the board. Um, you know, with the floor care portion of it, not
interesting.
necessarily hospitals, other than
Interesting.
stripping and refinishing. Yeah.
I have a friend in Orlando who his main business is all floor care, and he strips and
Yes.
refinishes floors. It's
Yeah.
basically all he does,
Yeah.
and he's
It's
got
a
a couple
need.
of teams. So he's
I'm sure he's doing well because there's such a big need, particularly in this
yeah,
day and time. You know.
hmm especially with staffing the way it is. He does a lot of schools and
Hmm. Hmm.
which is good because schools, you can get a contract where you can go in and strip and refinish, because you
Yep.
don't want to strip and refinish the entire school in one day. So you
Nah,
could
it's probably not
piece
gonna
that
happen
out over
anyway.
12 months. And then the
Yeah.
next year, you're just doing it all over again because,
Yeah.
they only have a shelf life for
Maintain it.
about a year. So it's
Yeah.
a pretty good contract, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty good
So that's
idea.
where we got started. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. And so now you're in hospitals. Now you actually have a hospital account. You're doing cleaning for it. You have a
Yes.
crew.
Yes. Yes. Crew. 18 employees.
How's that going?
Yeah. You know what? It's going well. It's actually the first time in about 3 years I've been staffed. So it's actually going wonderfully well, you know. So, I'm ecstatic about it, you know. Directors doing well, support teams doing well, growing the leadership, we have a good business partnership with the customer. So I think we're off to the good start.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I so appreciate that being you're fully staffed now. I have a housekeeping leadership academy and where we put housekeeping managers through all the time.
Yes.
And it comes up all the time. What do we do when we're short staffed? What do we do? I've been short staffed for 25 years. I've always been short staffed. Rarely have I ever had full staffed,
Yeah.
I
tell you what, it feels amazing. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, really. You got to ride that wave. It doesn't last long, right? Those waves, they come and go. They come and go.
I forgot what that wave felt like over the past 2 years. I'm gonna be honest. It's been much, but
yeah, I was saying I do a webinar on how to manage when you're short staffed, and when I do the webinar, I always preface. I go, I'm going to talk about how to manage, how to get stuff done when we're short staffed. I said, but honestly, we struggle with getting everything done even when we're fully staffed because there's so many things that come up. There's so many things that take us off of our daily task. And we write our job routines so that housekeepers, it's not like we have extra time. It's not like we write a job routine, that's going to take you 4 hours and we give you 8 to do it.
It's 8 hour routine.
It's 8 hours. We give you 7.5 hours to do it in, right? Yeah. That's really
pretty much.
So if you pull us off our game, it's rare that we get everything done. Rare.
Yeah. And that's the name of the industry, right? Getting pulled off the game daily. Something always comes up. So you just have to adapt.
If you come to me at 2:00 in the afternoon with a late admission, you may as well just punch me in the face because
well, let's just say
maybe not that bad, but you know what I mean. It's a real challenge.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I always have to ask. I always go, okay, so whose room do you not want me to clean? Well, I want you to clean all their rooms. Okay, stop being.
What time is it again?
What time is it again? I have 1 hour left. We have 8 rooms left.
Yeah.
What you want me to do is going to take me 40 minutes. Which rooms do you not want me to clean?
Yeah.
Let's pull out the room roster. You tell me which one's not going to give you a hard time because I didn't see the housekeeper today.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Very much so. Very much so. I always get everybody to come up with their cleaning methodology. I don't care what it is, but however you're going to clean your buildings and how often. And then once you come up with your cleaning methodology, step number 2 is put them in order of importance. And that really throws people for a loop. It's all important. I'm I know it is. Yeah. But if you can't do it all, what would you do?
It's about being realistic.
Exactly. And they're like, well, why can't we do it all? Okay. I mean, count the ways, 18 million reasons and why you can't do it all. But, getting people to just accept that, okay, I'm going to have to choose if nothing else can be done, this is what we're doing. If I can only do 2 things, these are the 2 things. If I can only do 3 things, these are the 3 things, It's
that priority tree, what we call it.
Yeah, I like that.
In case we can't get something done.
Yeah.
So we have these things. These are the backups. We're going to try to get to everything, no doubt. But in that event, we can't. What are your priorities? So we'll make sure those are done at least.
And then from there, when you're looking at your priorities, there has to be this overarching question of what is reasonable based on time, because the priorities are always, I'll give people a question of would you rather, how important is disinfecting the resident room? Well, there's not a person I've ever met that says, nah, it's not important.
No, it's not that important.
Everybody says that's number 1, right?
Of course.
Okay. But what if we don't have time to disinfect every resident room? And boy, that's it. There's you
stir that hornet note.
There it is. All of a sudden they're like, just get it done. No. you just tried to solve world hunger on me. Just solve world hunger. No,
Yeah,
nope.
yeah,
Can't. Let's break this down.
yeah, yeah. Those are challenging times. Yeah,
So I'm just saying I've always been short staffed, and those rare
yeah.
occasions that you're not short staffed, you're like, oh, maybe I can get some project work done.
Let's say I'm enjoying it. Like I said, man, we're enjoying it. You know.
I like it a lot. So
Yep. Yeah.
what's the next big thing? What's the where are you looking for another hospital? Are you interested in getting in long-term care? Do you do any
You know
commercial
what?
cleaning?
Right now, we just laying a foundation. Uh, we got project, 8 to 12 months. We're looking to expand a bit. Primarily hospitals. Long-term care would be something that we will welcome. You know,
Mm,
because there's that experience on that as well. But
hmm.
right now it's just health and hospitals and just going from there, building a
Yeah.
program. Within. I think for me, like one of the biggest things is building the people within. Like they are the program. Like so, you have to build them up. You have to inspire them. You have to train them. Like prepare them to be successful as a leader. So that's the biggest thing with my company that we want to focus on. Like nobody's left out. No one is of any importance. We want to include everyone and make them feel part of the team. I think that's where the biggest results have shown themselves, and pay them too. You know, pay them competitively and fair, and it's worked out. You know,
Yeah. That's really great. I think you're on the right track, especially when it comes to offering them training and
yes,
understanding. And there's this book by a guy named Abraham Maslow. You might have heard of Abraham Maslow. He does like the
hmm
higher. He's the guy who came up with like the hierarchy of needs.
yeah,
Well,
oh,
back in the 1950s, he wrote a book on management, and
really,
it's an interesting story about how we even got into writing about management or even thinking about management because he's a psychologist. He never really thought about management at all,
hmm
and certainly not the psychology of management teams. But he was invited to go and do some work at a factory, and
okay,
so he went as a psychologist. Just basically watching factory workers and asking questions and just seeing how they work and everything. And he wrote a book about it called On Management. And one of the most fascinating things that he wrote about was the idea of a knowledge worker. And he said that there's going to become a time when all employees are going to be able to be free. They're going to be able to freely move from one job to another because once they know something, you can't take it from them.
yep,
And it
this is true.
changes the way you have to be an employer because when you only employ knowledge workers, and I would argue that we're at that stage right
Mhm.
now, all of our employees are knowledge workers.
I would say that.
Once we teach them the skill of how to clean, disinfect properly,
hmm
do room scheduling, all that stuff,
All that.
once they know it, they no longer have to work for you. They can now go to work for anybody, to include
hmm
themselves, right? So now they
Facts.
can even just go start their own business because now they have the knowledge to do so. That's a knowledge working
hmm
mentality. And he says that when that happens, what employers are going to have to figure out is how to treat all employees as if they're volunteers, or to be more specific, as if they're volunteering to work
hmm
for you because they can work for anybody else, right? So that's a real
I like that
interesting,
concept.
I know. And
Yeah.
so now you think about it, all your employees right now, they are all volunteering to be for you, to work for you, because they
hmm
can work for anybody. That doesn't mean
Agreed.
they don't need the paycheck. It doesn't mean that's not what I'm saying. It means they can work anywhere
hmm
once they have the knowledge. So
I like
now,
that.
yeah, so then the question becomes, all right, so why do people volunteer? Like, why would somebody volunteer at a hospital or a nursing home or anywhere, a church even, or in their community center or at the school? Why
Yeah.
why why do dads volunteer to be coaches on a baseball team or
hmm
a football team? Or why do people volunteer at soup kitchens? Why do people volunteer to do
Yeah.
activities in nursing homes, right? Like, and you
Yeah.
start
It's a plethora of
uncovering,
things.
yeah, you'll start uncovering, um, you know,
What really drives
perhaps,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
perhaps you'll start uncovering some things that you may want to consider thinking about giving your current employees who are not,
hmm
doing it for free, but start treating them like volunteers.
There you
Whatever,
go.
people are getting out of being a volunteer, start giving that intentionally to your
Hmm.
employees. And I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'd agree. I'd agree. I
It
just think
might
they
be the
want to be a
change
part
maker.
of something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Might be the change maker. Might be the reason. And I learned this early on too, and I'm sure you did too, because I had so much attrition. I had so many people leaving.
Hmm.
I would have somebody. I had this guy work for me once, who worked for me, who I hired and never once worked for me. And it was always because he was never available. And he always
Yeah,
said that. He was like, my availability, my like,
yeah.
drove me crazy with this availability thing. He was never available, but I was
Imagine that.
always trying to get him on the schedule.
Hmm.
But here's the thing, because I never lost my cool with him, I always wanted to be clear.
Hmm.
I was always impatient. I'm like,
Yeah,
for the
of
love of God, will
course.
you please? But he got me a bunch of employees because I always treated him well. And
Hmm.
so he was always recommending other people, like, hey, you did a job. You should go check out Ralph. He's
Hmm.
always hiring. He hired me. I haven't worked yet, but he
Yeah,
hired.
even though I'm not working, but that's neither here nor there, by the way.
It's neither here nor it was one of those. It was one of those things where I was like, oh, okay, all right. So
Yeah,
even if they don't work for me, how I treat them matters.
it always does. I
Because
agree with
how,
that.
yeah, because how people talk about you matters.
Yeah,
If you're an
these
employer, you're a
impressions,
business owner, you're a manager,
it
boy,
matters.
it matters. If you're a dad, right? If you're a mom, parent, grandparent, it matters.
Yeah,
It
I
matters.
think all these encounter matters. You can't take any of them for granted. Particularly when you have the opportunity to be in leadership over someone. To me, I have a motto. I'm like, I got to make you better than I found you. I got to leave you better than I found
Oh,
you.
I like
There's
that.
something that I can impart, can say by example, a word, a deed, or something. So you have to always be in a certain space, which means it's not about you, fancy leader. It's not about you. You're here for the people,
I can tell you,
and that's where you need to be
when
poured
I
out at.
first realized that, yeah, I think I tell you, when I first heard that, or like the whole idea that managing is not about you, it really pissed me off because I really worked hard to be a manager. I thought it was all going to be about me. Like I was going to
Yeah,
get a nice office. I was
yeah.
going to be able to come and go as I pleased. I got there and they're
No.
like, no, it's about serving them. I'm like, them? They didn't work
Yes.
Saturday and Sunday when it wasn't their
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is it about them?
It's about them. Yeah.
It's always
They keep
about.
this place going. You know.
Ah,
Yeah, they do.
it's so true.
No,
It's
I like
so
it though.
true.
You got to be kind, and you just treat people the way you want to be treated. It's not a hard notion.
Yeah, there's a
Just be a
guy.
good human.
There's a guy named Jocko Willink who is he does a lot of leadership training and he does a
Hmm.
podcast called Jocko Podcast. And if you never heard of him, I mean, I totally recommend you were looking him up. He's really,
Okay.
really fantastic. Jocko Willink. And he says that every interaction you have with anyone is an opportunity to strengthen your relationship with them.
I agree with that.
Like,
I can see that.
man,
That's a good perspective.
that's nice, right?
It is.
That's nice. And it
We
doesn't
ever
matter
have?
who it is.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too
It could be your
because they're all
kids,
opportunities.
your spouse, your
No matter.
neighbor, the
Yeah.
store clerk, your
Yeah.
employees, your business partner,
Yeah. It's
anybody you
like
run
sharpening
into.
that iron.
So great.
Yeah.
So great. Hey, before we go, I'd love to just ask about you doing business with your cousin. You said your cousin's your business partner.
Yes.
How'd that come about?
Man, we grew up together. He's just kind of always been there. You know, one of my mentors a long time ago told me, though, you want to go into business, with your family or friends, expect a loss. So I thought, okay, so I considered that. But no, he's just always been there. Just kind of had the same interests, same work ethic. So we thought a partnership would be, you know, pretty sweet. Based on some of the interests that we like. And we both like to do a good job, same character, same like spirit. So it's just kind of natural. But he's a tremendous help. So,
That's really great. Because I heard the same thing, right? Like
mhm.
never do business with family,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
hire family.
yep.
But I too have a cousin
Hmm.
that I mean, I've never gone into business with him, but I
Yeah.
could easily
Yeah.
in a minute. I mean, I don't even it's almost like he's not related. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have that kind of related mentality, or I don't towards him anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you get it a bit. Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I get it. I could totally see myself doing business with him, not having any issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we both the same. Like he works
Mm-hmm.
hard. He treats people a certain way. He can articulate himself. He can
Mm-hmm.
talk with the customer, with
Million
staff.
percent.
Like so, it's not anything hard.
Yeah.
You have like
Same.
passions. So
Same.
yeah.
Same. Yeah.
So I
So
would
that's
say the
interesting.
decision have to be right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go into business with all my cousins though. Let's say that.
I was gonna say. I
Although
was
I
gonna
love them.
say.
Yeah.
There's more that I wouldn't than there is that I would.
Exactly.
But
You use that discretion. You know
yeah,
who, personnel.
yeah. So you've had a good experience then. That's really great.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
That's
we've been
great.
doing this for some time. So yeah.
Yeah,
Well, actually,
super
about
fun.
7 years, 7, 8 years now. We've been doing it.
Wow. Yeah.
We work side by side, hands on. We've been in crawl spaces together. So I mean, we've done it. Yeah, we've done it. So to see where we've evolved to, we're very grateful for the opportunities, and the training along the way that's got us prepared for this. So
Yeah.
can't
I,
complain one bit.
I think it's super great, and you're giving me hope. I think that's really fun because I have worked with family members before, and I was
Yeah,
like, ugh, did not work out for one
yeah,
reason or
yeah,
another. Either I
yeah,
expected too much from them, or they
yeah,
expected too much from
yeah,
me, or
yeah.
it was
Well,
always
I've had
something.
it. I've had it like that. I've worked with friends. I've had business partners that friends. It didn't go as well,
Yep, me too.
but no hard feelings, but it just didn't go as well. So I know that aspect of it as well. You really just have to use discretion, know the
Yeah,
personnel, know the person you're going into business with, and make the decisions from there. But
yeah. Tell me about your kids. You have 6 kids. You said.
yes,
What are their
yes.
ages? Like, what's the range from what to what?
So from 16 to 3 months. Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
moly!
yeah. So my oldest son, he's a sophomore in high school. The
Wow,
little
and
one.
a
Yeah.
3-month-old baby.
Yes. Yeah. 3 month old baby.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Good
I'm
for
always
you.
gonna go. You know, my whole life is geared around that responsibility and making sure I get to practices and games. And, being there, homework and all that good stuff. So it definitely keeps me in a position of just always considering and wanting to get better for their sake as well. Be the best version of Derrick that I can be, to
Mm,
help, chart the course for them to be successful adults. So, you know, I think I enjoy it actually.
so great. What's your oldest's name?
DJ Derrick
DJ.
Jr.
Is
Yes.
is he is he working in housekeeping yet? You got him doing floor care?
Well, he's helped out a couple of times with some
Oh yeah.
projects,
Get him
but
around a buffer or
he's
something.
more.
Get him on a side to side.
Yeah, yeah, he's more when we did the installation of floors. So, but he's enamored with basketball. Hard to imagine that,
Ah.
right? So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
basketball's a fun
but we definitely
sport,
get him
and
going.
it's one of those sports that even if you don't make it to the pros, which is difficult, it's one of those sports you can play your whole life. A great team, great
Yeah,
friends can be made out
yeah,
of it, and I have friends who
definitely.
play every
And it
weekend.
teaches you a lot of lessons.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah,
of course.
yeah. It teaches you how to deal with people and be a part of a team and accepting roles and things like that. So I think it's always good, not just adolescents, but all of us. We can be a part of a team that benefits us.
Yeah,
So
no, that's super great. Good for you.
yeah,
Good
it
for you.
is.
That's really great. Super
Mhm.
excited to hear about that. I just love family and
Yes.
all that stuff. It's so
Yeah.
great. How did COVID did COVID how was that for your business? Were you guys busy as heck, or was it a big slowdown for you guys?
Initially, it was a slowdown. I mean, everything was pretty much shut down at first because they didn't have a lot of knowledge of what was going on, and they were kind of scrambling to get things together. But it slowed down, then it picked back up tremendously. Once some of the service lines increased,
Mm-hmm.
the specialty surgeries increased. some of the elective things increased. So it's like, okay, you got to ramp up, hire more now because you've been dormant for the past quarter. Now things are picking up. So it was just challenges. But I mean, like everyone's problem these days, being short staffed was always a challenge. I say if you got 50, 60, 70 employees in this day and time, it's a challenge to just keep it staffed.
Yeah.
We were rolling with 80 at that point. So yeah, it was a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's just now starting to, get back where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Here we are 2 years plus later.
Yeah, it was a challenge for me too, but the biggest challenge I had was learning how to, because I'm an educator, is learning how to provide education via, electronically. There was Zoom videos, phone calls. When we first closed down because I work in healthcare, right? Like you. So like, it wasn't like, hey, healthcare is closing. We didn't close.
No,
like we were busy the whole time. But consultants, and which is kind of what I'm considered as a consultant.
Yeah.
They stopped having consultants come to facilities. And so, my clients still had the same problems. They still needed help solving those problems. But then they were like, can you do training on FaceTime? I'm like, all right, sure. And I literally started doing this on FaceTime. I think I'll just do it on FaceTime. Yeah. Doing facility tours and, looking at corners and edges and toilets and,
Yeah, that came to a stop.
On FaceTime. Yeah. And then we transitioned into Zoom. And, but for me too, it wasn't so much that work lessened or even increased. It was really more of like, all right, how do we still provide education and services and support without being in person? It was a real thing to get around. You're like, how do you do it? I don't even know. Are you comfortable talking to me on the computer?
I know, right? And then the CDC and other organizations, it changed, the information changed, seemed like twice a week at one point.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to keep up on those things as it was ever evolving, and keep the staff educated on, best practices. And these are the new guidelines and these are the wait times and things like that. So those kind of small nuances, the integral part of the operation, it became that much more tedious because of all the change on a weekly basis.
I was doing a webinar called CDC Guidelines for Housekeeping. So it was a pretty popular webinar in 2020, 2021 even. And I remember I was always doing a demonstration, and I would be like, all right, so I have a microfiber rag, a cotton rag, and a paper towel. Which one is the most effective at cleaning a surface? And, everybody would be like, microfiber. And I'd be like, they're all the same. And like, surprise, it was a trick. They're all the same. Yeah, because all it is a vehicle. I would say, all it is a vehicle for chemical, like disinfectant. The disinfectant doesn't care if it's on a microfiber rag or a cotton rag or a paper
It's there
towel.
to kill.
It's just there to kill. And there was a epidemiologist from one of the state associations that was on the call, and she just was like, I can't believe you're telling people that a paper towel is as effective as a microfiber rag. And I was like, well, have you ever heard of a bleach wipe? That's a disposable paper towel in
pretty much
bleach.
Yeah. Or the Oxivir wipes,
right?
There, PV wipes,
disposable wipe, a paper product
with chemical on it.
The
chemical is what we after.
It's a vehicle.
Yeah.
But to your point, like, everybody just was hyper aware of contact time and cleaning methodology, and everybody was an expert. And nobody knew what the hell they were talking about.
And it showed weekly. It was ever changing.
Like, every time you opened it up and saw a change, the CDC made a change. You're like, oh, how am I going to explain this?
Yeah.
How am I going to implement this? 10-minute contact time? I was like, come on.
Yeah, right. Come on.
People,
help me out a little bit.
I swear I spent half the year going, okay, there's low temp laminate and there's high temp laminate. Do you know what this is? And be like, no. I'm like, okay. Low temp laminate is affordable, very inexpensive, made furniture, and it's porous. If I leave it wet for 10 minutes, it's going to go through the laminate. It's going to bubble up.
It's going to ruin it.
It's going to ruin it.
Who's paying for that?
Who's paying for that? 10-minute contact.
Who's paying for that? Yeah, I remember.
Well, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure, Ralph. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it's so great meeting you and hearing about your journey into housekeeping. It's so fun. How do people get a hold of you if they're looking for somebody to clean for them, or if they're looking for a job? Are you hiring? I mean, I imagine you're accepting applications at the very least.
Yeah, right now we're accepting applications. We're on ZipRecruiter on the Edmonds Enterprise LLC. You can find us, and also on LinkedIn on my page, Derrick Edmonds. You can find the description as well. So
excellent.
Excellent. Big things coming. We're excited, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Housekeepers podcast. And thanks for everything. I really appreciate it. And be safe out there. Weather the storm. The storm's coming this week, but it's the middle of it's the end of February, so this show doesn't come out right when I record it. So end of February, there's a big storm. There was a big storm. I'm not talking in the future. Get out of here. See you guys later. Housekeepers podcast.
Later.
Derrick Edmonds.